So Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to our today's masterclass on mastering self and mastering relationships. We have just started entering the participants, and we just wanted to know and make sure that all of you are able to hear us. And before we move towards properly starting the masterclass, we would like to make sure some housekeeping announcements that I hope that all of you are seated in a comfortable position, that you won't be disturbed for an hour or so. All of you are having your headphones on, and your mics are muted. That's by setting. And whenever during the session we'll be asking for your input, or we'll be asking for any discussions or your viewpoints. So we would definitely ask you to unmute yourself and share your views. So it's almost 7 p.m. Pakistan time. And before formally starting and inviting Mr. Suhail for the session, I would deeply like to thank each one of you for showing up for this masterclass and for being with us on this path of truth and authenticity and developing authentic connections. So I'm deeply grateful for presence of each and every one of you. Thank you so, so much. And if you're comfortable, we would really like that all of you keep your cameras on and keep your mics on mute. With this, I would be inviting our facilitator for today's session, Mr. Suhail Bhawani. So let's welcome Mr. Suhail. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me properly. So I will just see where can I move towards a view which is more. How do you go to a view where I can see everyone? I think I should stop sharing the screen first.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see me now? Okay. Sounds good. Very good. So I'm really delighted to have you all on this workshop, this event, this masterclass. Yes. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity to share with you whatever I've been learning in terms of relationships. And so before we dive into this journey of mastering relationships and mastering self, I want to share something about why I'm doing this masterclass in the first place. Because the kind of divisive energy which is so pervasive in the planet right now on this earth, I can't imagine, because it's really heartbreaking, the kind of polarization happening in this world on different issues, for example, related to gender, related to race, related to health. There's a huge movement around, whether one should have vaccine or not, and the kind of environment that we are living in is just, the major theme is disconnection. So if you see in the families, there's kind of a battle sort of environment where people having different views. You see a split in the collective. So, and this is very interesting, and that's where my master class sort of pitching in, because I see this connection all over the place. So if you are tuned into the social issues of current times, what's happening in Australia right now? So people are, especially children, are being put together in one place in a stadium, and they are being forced to do something which shouldn't be happening against their will. So this is very interesting because that's where I feel that who can do that? Who can do this brutality to a generation come? And you need to be disconnected from that particular group of people to do something like this. So if you take extremism, fundamentalism, one can terrorize a person to an extent where they are disconnected from the other person. So, so that's why this masterclass is very important to me, because it seems we don't know how to relate to each other, and we are so disconnected that we don't see the other person as part of us, and we don't see ourselves as part of other people. Someone is saying this part, my voice is not clear. Okay, how about now? Okay, can you hear me properly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Very good, very good, very good, very good. Okay, so this is why I'm doing this masterclass, because we need to learn quickly. We need to learn the skill of relationships, because if we don't learn this, we will end up as a disconnected being, because relationship is not about just human relationships. It's about relationship with inanimate objects as well. So what is your relationship with your mobile phone? What is your relationship to the plant that is in your house? What is the relationship with the dog that you have? What is the relationship with the watch that you carry? Do you know? So if you feel connected, because what does it mean when I say relationships? Because when you relate to someone, you cannot harm that person, because that person becomes part of you. Yeah. And we have forgotten this skill of relationships. That's why this master class is important, because if others can see us as part of themselves, they cannot harm us because we are part of them. And if we see others, anything around us, see part of ourselves, we cannot harm that thing. Do you see? So which means that if we harm that thing, if we harm ourselves. So if we feel that connected, you won't see crimes on the street. You won't see people being pushed against their wills. So this is why this master class is so important. So with this setting up of the context, I'll introduce myself, what I do, because people who are new to this thing and new to me, and they don't know me. Basically, I'm an emotions intuitive, so I can sort of access people's emotions, and I have this gift of mirroring people the subconscious mind that they carry. And I'll explain further, because people think that our aware consciousness establishes a relationship with others. That's not entirely true, because it's interesting that our subconscious plays a very important role. How do we relate to people? Who do we connect with? And so this is why my gift is, is the importance of this gift to establish that I can mirror people back their subconscious mind and what they don't know about themselves. So this is my gift, and I didn't know about that, and I had this gift since my childhood. So this is who I am, and what I teach is I teach connection, I teach relationships, and on an objective level, I'm a teacher of oneness, I should say, because this is what I do. And so I teach oneness. I teach that how do we relate to each other, and I try to practice it in my own day-to-day life. I can't see faces because it seems I'm talking to a screen. I don't know why I can't see your faces. Why? Oh, do you think that recording is becoming an impediment? to the faces, because I can't talk to the screen. I need to see people. If you want that I should stop the recording, then I should, because I want to interact with faces. I'm trying, but web is crashing. Okay. Okay. How can I? Okay. So Fatma, can you do something so that I can see people? Hi, Salis. How are you? Okay. Okay. So I can see in a few faces now. Okay. Mariam, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Fatma, you can also on your camera, please. Yeah. But no, I can't operate like this. Somehow it's so inhuman. Yeah. Please
Okay.
on your camera.
Hi.
Hello, how are you? If you want, I can stop the
I'm good.
recording, because recording is not my priority. If you feel like recording is becoming an impediment between your face and me, please do let me know and I will stop that recording. I stop that damn recording. I don't need it. Because I need to see faces of the people. Okay, so if you're willingly stopping or putting the video off, then that's okay. Okay, so there's an interesting meditation that I've developed for this masterclass. So before the real heart of this masterclass, let's do this meditation. It will take maybe 5 to 8 minutes, but it will be worthwhile to do this meditation. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So what I want you to do is to gently close your eyes. Yeah. So I want you to close your eyes and bring your conscious awareness to the breath. And when I say bringing your conscious awareness to the breath, it means that you need to follow the breath. You don't need to dictate the way breath should be, but allow yourself to be guided by this breath, as if you are riding a wave. Now I want you to imagine that you are in your mother's womb. So imagine that cozy womb that you are in right now, as if you are being transported to that realm back in the time when you were about to be born. So you are in your mother's womb. I want to familiarize yourself with that feeling, with that space. You feel that life is totally and entirely dependent upon the connection between you and your mother via the umbilical cord. So those who have joined just now, so we are doing this guided meditation. I want you to close your eyes and imagine that you are in your mother's womb. Now I want you to feel how this womb is making you feel. Because there is a feeling state that you are in right now. So imagine and feel how this womb is making you feel. So these are some of the questions that I want you to ask yourself and see how your body is reacting, how your emotional landscape is reacting. So So does this womb that you are in welcomes you or makes you feel that you belong here? Or does it makes you feel unwelcomed, as if you don't belong here? So just see what is your reaction. So does this womb that you are in right now welcomes you? You feel belong here, or you don't feel that you belong here? You are unwelcome. Do you feel nourished in there, or do you feel like you lack nourishment? So I want you to take few minutes without my voice guiding you to note down the bodily sensations that arise in you in response to these questions, and become aware of the thoughts that you have been thinking based off of these sensations that you you have been feeling right now. So whatever you have been feeling and thinking, you realize for the first time that your survival is reliant upon how your mother is feeling right now. The kind of food she has been eating, the sort of people she has been surrounded by. You have been feeding off of all the non-verbal and verbal communications and reacting to them accordingly. Similarly, she has been impacted by how you feel in the womb. So do you see the interlink, the interlink, the interconnection between you and your mother? This is your first lesson in relationship. So I repeat, this is your first lesson in relationship. And what you've learned is that you need to be connected with someone or somebody in order to be nourished or nourish someone. Connection is a natural state of being. Separation is an illusion. Everything is a relationship, and relationship is everything. Now imagine you moving fast forward to this day and time. Just feel how you relate to others. So you've come back from your womb and fast forward, you are now experiencing this day and time. Just feel how you relate to others. How your current relationships make you feel. How others feel about being related to you. So, how others feel you in relationships. Now, imagine the kind of relationship you have with yourself. How do you feel to yourself? What feeling signature it evokes in you? Now reflect your relationship with your neighbors, your physical environment, your natural environment, your relationship with animate and inanimate objects. Imagine how might they feel around you. What might they would say how you relate to them. It's a different perspective. Now sink in with the feelings and thoughts that have been evoked for a while and try to see in your imagination. Now I want you to gently bring your focus back on the breathing and its rhythm. So if you're pulling back that energy and putting your energy or focus back on the breathing and its rhythm, I want you to familiarize yourself with the room that you are in right now. Means how it smells, what kind of sounds that prevails in the room, and the overall ambience of the room that you are sitting right now. And now you can open your eyes and find yourself back in the room. Okay, so this was quite a journey for you, I believe. So I was going through the uh, forms, the Google form that you have filled, and I've asked this question: that what motivated you to join this masterclass? And many of them said, many things. And it was interesting that the major theme that was emerging from the form is that everybody wanted to improve relationships. Nobody, there's not a single person who said, no, I don't want to improve it. You see, and they wanted to learn new techniques for self-awareness and how to understand self, and that's what people are studying. But since I'm a shadow worker, so I mirror back the subconscious reality. So I thought that this question might put you on the spot, because I'm like a person, I want to challenge people, because that's how I developed my skills, and that's how my understanding of personal growth and personal development is. So I want you to personally answer yourself. You may want to write it down on your notepad or anything else on your electronic notes. Just write down answer to this question: why I don't want to improve my relationships, why it would be bad for me to understand self, why I don't want to understand myself. Do you get this? That why I don't want to improve my relationship, why would not I want to? How would you answer to this question? Take a few minutes and write it down. I hope you understand the question that I'm raising. So I might want to say it in Urdu as well, because there's audience who also understand Urdu. मैं अपने रिश्तों को क्यों बेहतर नहीं बनाना चाहता या चाहती, या मैं अपनी जात को क्यों नहीं समझना चाहूंगा या समझना चाहूंगी, इसका क्या जवाब होगा? So I've just translated that question into my mother tongue. So take a few seconds, minutes to write down the answer, and then we'll share. Kainath has just joined. Kainath, we are answering this question, that why we don't want to improve our relationships, why I don't want to improve upon myself. Why I don't want to understand myself. That's the question we are trying to answer.
I'm having difficulty in answering the question because I really want this thing. So I'm
But that's
having kind of trouble in it.
I get you, but that's where you need to stretch your mind, because if you are not finding those relationships well, or it's being difficulty for you, then there's a shadow side to it, means the side that you don't know, and I want you to access that space. So stretch your mind and answer that question, what that answer would be. That what might be the reason, actually I don't want to improve my relationships. Okay, so if someone has all, because since we operate in a law of mirroring or law of attraction based universe, means that what is within us, we get the same reflection from the outer universe. It's like if we suppress, deny, disown anger, for example, then we might come across people who will trigger anger in us. That's one example. So who would like to share? Let's take few responses. What people have written. I want to interact. So who would like to go? Anjali, please go ahead. So you can.
So I would, broadly speaking, like without going into specific.
Oh, Anjali, you got me somehow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Audible? Yeah, so without going into the specifics, broadly speaking, I would like to say that it is for the, because I feel if I get too close to anyone, I would be like manipulated and hurt. That is the broad, yeah, and I'll have to self-sacrifice in
Yeah.
order to, yeah, and also I feel that I have nothing to offer. So that is the broad overview.
Okay, thank you. That's an interesting answer. Okay, who else would like to share their answer with us? Wasim, yeah, go ahead, please. Wasim, you need to unmute yourself. Yeah, perfect.
Yes, sir. I would like to say that if I do not want to have an ease in my life, or I would like to have continuously suffering, so in that case, I would not like to improve my relationship. Otherwise, there is no other reason.
So it means that you subconsciously want to suffer, and one may take on with this inquiry that why is it so. But that's an interesting answer. So I don't want to
Yes.
improve my relationship because I want to suffer, because there's an interesting dynamic called that if I suffer I feel loved. you know if that's my meaning, if that's my subconscious meaning of relationship, that if I'm not suffering, that means I'm not loved. That I'm just teasing with this idea, because that's a very common pattern I see in my work. Thank you, Wasim. Great. Who else wants to go ahead? Hi.
Hello.
Mariam. Yeah. Mariam, then Saloni, and then Dua. Yeah.
Okay. The thing is, I do want to improve on my relationships, but it depends on what relationship I want to improve on. Because the relationship I have with my partner or the relationship I have with my parents, there are some relationships that I just don't want to touch upon because I'm too comfortable in my skin. I really don't want to touch those. I'm okay with it. But there are a few that I really want to work upon. So it varies. I can't say that I want to improve on my relationship all over.
Okay.
Hmm.
But the question is that the relationships that you want to improve, why would you not want to improve them? What might be the
Because I'm too
reason?
comfortable. I don't want to touch that topic. I'm too comfortable. Okay, जैसा है
Okay.
वैसे ही जा रहा है. Okay,
I
it's
got it.
fine.
Okay, so you want to be in that comfort zone. So comfort is your
Yeah.
priority. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
it's an important theme that we prioritize different values subconsciously, and therefore values dictates our relationship.
mm,
You see.
mm.
Okay, so Saloni and then Dua.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Saloni. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so for me, when I gave this a thought, the only thing that came in mind was that in order to improve my relationships, I have to become intimate with people. Intimacy needs to be there. And when intimacy is there, it's just uncomfortable, as well as there's so many, like, if I have relationships in my life and I'm close to those people, I'll keep getting hurt like I have in the past. And it's like I want to protect myself from being hurt. So there's that mechanism that I'm trying to not make sure that I get hurt. And it's also fear of intimacy.
Yeah. Yeah, so very interesting. Thank you, Saloni, for your input, because that's very interesting. Because I don't want to improve my relationships or want to have relationship because I'm scared of her, scared of being hurt. So do you see that there's an enormous space within us that doesn't want to be aligned with relationships? You know, there are coaches in relationship coaches you will find, and they will, you know, give you that Novocaine to improve your relationships without not getting into the entire pelothra of beliefs that doesn't want to get on board with you. You know, that's why I wanted to push you to think in that terms. So Nazia Ahsan also shared that maybe I'm not giving enough space to my relationship. Maybe I'm not good at listen. I'm not a good listener. Do you see that how we stop ourselves to get into relationships? Do you see this subconscious playing out? So thank you, Nazia. Let's go to Dua, what she wants to share.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I hope everyone
Okay.
also.
I've kind of made myself comfortable enough in relationships around me that I can be neutral while being in this chaotic, set of relationships. So I fear that to present my true self and to also get to know them on a deeper level would require some sort of confrontation. And I feel like, because I feel so neutral, the external energies of everyone and everything will clash with mine. And that really takes a toll on my mental health and maybe their mental health as well. So I've kind of learned and made myself okay with being neutral while being amidst chaos instead of going in and facing everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dua. So it seems that you are saying that I'm afraid of conflict because, if
Yeah.
I get into a relationship, this energetic movement into relationship will bring conflict, and I cannot handle conflict. Do you see that energetic movement and why we wouldn't want to get into relationships? Yeah. So thank you. Okay, let's take last response by Kainat because she has been raising her hand since quite a while. Okay. Kainat, please go ahead.
So I was just working with these two parts of mine. One that wants to be in a relationship and one that doesn't want to get into any relationship. The one that basically wants security and protection from somebody because it didn't get it in the past, right? So it wants to get it from people. The other one felt too abused in the relationships, past relationships with parents, with other people. So it is scared. But when I worked with both of them on the route, both wanted safety. But I couldn't get to a point where they could agree to how they want to approach this thing where they want safety. So that's the confusion that I'm working with right now.
Wait. Okay, so
Very trustingly, yeah. The first part that basically wants to get into a relationship and wants that safety from somebody was the face of my mother. It had a figure, it had a face, that was my mother. And the one that didn't want was the face of my father. So that was another interesting insight that I got.
Yeah. Thank you, because you know what you did. You just identified the split. That's the split, and this is what trauma is all about. That a part of you is craving for relationships, but you need to, in order to improve relationship, you need to take on board or own the part of you that doesn't want, like in Kainat.
So here, can you put the microphone up? We can't hear you.
Okay. So in Kainat's case, it's the fear of that abuse, the past projection of abuse which might want to chip in, and will stop Kainat to not to go into this direction where she might be interested in someone, especially significant relationships. So do you see? Because that's where my masterclass and my approach to relationship is entirely different, because it brings in the blind spot that people carry. It's not just woo idea of improving relationship and selling the Novocaine that, if you take this, your relationship will be out of this world, because this doesn't work. Because even me and Fatma, sometimes get into conflict. But it's the way we say it, that it's not the rupture that scare people. It's about not having the repair once the rupture takes place, because that's where the scary things come into our lives. So this is I wanted to show to you that is, this is the flip side of the coin, that many of you people like me or those who want to improve relationship just ignore that we have a part of ourselves which actually is not on board with us when it comes to improving relationships. But there's a way to deal with it. But before we do that, I want you to I want to show a short presentation, and I'm calling it the reality of our relationships and the reality of ourselves. Because sometimes we live in this reality bubble and we interact with that bubble. We don't know what's going uh, on a deeper level with us. So I'll share my screen and we'll walk through you a short presentation that I've developed. Okay, so I would like to give credit to Canva for using these clip arts. Yeah. So can you see the screen? Okay, so
Yes, we can see it.
I will just, okay, so because I'm always bad at technology. Okay, let me share it again and I'll play this. Okay, can you see the, no, you can't, I think. Okay, now you can see. Okay, great. Is there a shortcut to Zoom or something? Yeah, now I can play this. Okay, so imagine this woman called Sarah. Yeah, so I'm labeling it as sweet Sarah. So what happens to sweet Sarah is that sweet Sarah born to a very religious family. So you might think of a Muslim, very religious, staunch, Orthodox, or a Catholic Christian family. So Sarah is one of those, and gender norms are very strict in the culture that Sarah is born. Now imagine that anger was not acceptable emotion in Sarah's house. Yeah. So she has been beaten up by her father for showing anger twice. So she knows that, so I get reprimanded if I show my anger. So therefore anger is a bad emotion in my household and in the society in general. So she believes that only love and light that exist in the world. Yeah. Do you see that split? The anger is bad. Love and light is good. This is what the world is all about. Okay. So, but how do I move ahead? Seems that it's not moving. The slide doesn't want to move.
Can you play next? Maybe it will work then.
I'm pressing the button next, but
If it's stuck, you'll have to unshare and then reshare the screen,
okay. So
and it'll work.
Or you can try
Oh.
the mouse.
Now it's working. Okay. So do you see that what happens to Sarah then? Okay. So what happens is that Sarah pushes away this part that is angry. There's a sub personality of Sarah which is angry, and I'm calling it angry bird. Okay. So Sarah pushes this aspect of angry Sarah away, and also the worry ward Sarah, because she's been terrified of her father's abuse. So she pushes both these parts away from her. This is not the part I subscribe to. I only like the lovey-dovey part of myself. Yeah, this is the lovey-dovey part. So she subscribed to this part, and why? Because she wants to create affinity with the parents. Because if she shows her anger, then she would be pushed away by the father and the family and both the parents, you see. So she doesn't want to own this part, which is angry and terrified. Yeah. So she identified with the part of which is sweet. Okay, now I want you to reflect what kind of relationship Sarah has with her terrified and angry part. So what would you say? What kind of relationship she has with these parts?
Avoidance.
Okay. Anybody else?
And
She hates that part of her that's angry, so hate.
She's scared of the part surfacing.
Yes, absolutely. So if I ask, is it a good relationship or is it a bad relationship?
A bad one.
Absolutely bad. And so who is the one she has a good relationship with?
Lovey-dovey.
Exactly.
Lovey-dovey.
Exactly.
So perhaps she has the same relationship with her part, the relationship that her father has with her. With her. Would that be the case as well?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So now fast forward. Sarah is now 22. So she is looking for that perfect partner to attract in her life. Okay. And so what do you think? What kind of a partner is she most likely to attract in life? How would you answer?
The one that
The one
triggers
who is like her father.
Okay. Absolutely. And there is a reason, because there are people in this group who might want to understand why is it so. Yeah. So let's move forward. So Sarah is all about love and light, and she believes that the partner would be exactly like her. So she thinks of a partner which is love and light. Yeah. So she hooks up with Sammy, who feels like warm, caring, and emotionally available man at first glance. Yeah. Like this. But what happens that gradually Sammy got changed, and he used to get angry at Sarah over petty issues. He becomes like this person. And then what happens is that he reminds Sarah of her father, who used to get angry over her and was emotionally unavailable to her. Yeah. And this makes Sarah feel bad, and she gets triggered, especially her anger and fear is triggered because she thinks that why bad things happen to good people, because she finds herself as a good person. Why why bad things happen to good people? Yeah. So these aspects get triggered. And the reason these aspects get triggered in us, and many of you would relate to this, because what happens that if we deny, reject, and push those aspects away, what universe does as a mechanism to connect people, because again, the universe is for relationships. It wants to connect people. It goes for oneness. And then what happens is that universe brings those shadows back into your life. And when you push that away in a way that it's unimaginable to be connected, then universe brings those people into your life who will trigger you the most. And that's where you need to connect with them. So triggers like these are an opportunity to connect with those rejected, denied, disowned aspects. So this is what our relationship is all about. Yeah, this is the reality of our relationship and ourselves, because self and relationships are same side, two sides of the same coin. So relationship is flip side, and the other side is the self, and both sort of are interrelated. So whatever being reflected in yourself, what you go internally is being reflected externally. That's what our relationship is all about. Okay. So now I want the ball to be pushed into your court, and how I want to know that give me examples. How do you relate to this short example, and talk about your relationships and what is being played out in your relationships by applying this example. So, who would like to share?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Who is this?
Yeah. This is Dua.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have indeed seen a pattern of such, what do you call it? And it's been happening again and again. And I guess with time, you kind of become, in flow with the highs and the lows, and you don't fear them anymore. At least that aspect is removed. So I guess this helps me to understand and see my triggers in a positive way and not try to escape from them in every time I'm faced with a confrontation or like a conflict, but instead to look at it with a positive light and internalize it and sort of it understand that it brings me closer to myself ultimately. Because I guess at that moment all you see and all you feel is your disconnect from the person next to you, and that brings the whole problem with the conflict and everything. So I guess that really helps me to understand it all better.
Yeah. Thank you for your input. But seems that there's a difference what you want and
Yeah.
what is the reality in your relationship. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
reality is like not that good. It seems the
Yeah.
way you are thinking about what you want or what you desire is a different
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. So the focus
Of
is
course.
what is
Yeah.
the reality of the relationships right now. So, but thank you
Yeah.
for this sharing. Okay, who else wants
Okay,
to
sure.
um, share what's happening in their lives? Yeah, Wasim, go ahead. I can see your hand.
Yes, sir. I would like to share regarding this that in my life, most of the time, I felt fear in my relationships.
Okay.
Uh, I uh, I have been facing bullying for a long time in my college, in my university, and for a year back on my job place. And I'm still failing in my relationship, even my family members. So what I'm thinking after this example is that basically I do not want to be fear. So and I'm avoiding the fear, and I do not want to face my that part who was fearing in my childhood. And I have been learned that the fear is not good from my mother or my father, that a man should not be feared, or he should be strong, he should be responsible, he should be heavy, and like that, these type of the things. So the universe is making those circumstances that what I'm avoiding in my life, uh, now they show me the circumstances. It is showing me the circumstances which accumulate the fear in me.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for for the share, because it seems that your fear is being triggered from the external reality, and that fear is telling you something that you might have disowned in relationships. Yeah, and that might be the reason you don't want to get into relationships, because as I want to put it, because improving relationship means owning and bringing together those disowned, rejected aspects. Because unless you connect with them in a compassionate way, you cannot improve the reality outside. Because that's where I'm bringing um, this thing in the relationship coaching. Because many of us think that just learning certain skills, just learning few techniques will improve your relationships, but it won't. Because if you bypass those triggers around you, because I feel that many of most of the time these triggers get bypassed by people in order to feel good, yeah, in relationship. But you need to make a place for these triggers, so they need to be brought into the relationships rather than away from relationships. So that's why self is important. And what I was trying to sort of share with you is that there is no one self. Self, as we say, is actually um, amalgamation of different selves in you. So as Wasim shared, so there's a Wasim who is an aware ego who wants to improve relationship, but at the same time, he has an aspect which is fearful. Yeah, the fearful inner child that you have. So these are two selves, there's no one self. Yeah, so do you get this? And as we have selves, they get reflected in our external reality. And you see people, situations in your life which will trigger you to really see what you have been hiding in relationships. And once you integrate that aspect, you become closer to these aspects, you see an improvement in your relationship. Yeah. Okay, so Saloni wants to say something, then Hana. Let's take two more inputs. Yeah, Saloni, please go ahead.
Yeah, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I feel like that example you've taken is so real because that's basically me, Sarah, because um, not just my angry part that I've disowned, because yes, I do come from a very strict, Hindu family, which is like, you must be a sweet, polite girl all the time. So it's like any aspect that I've disowned, whether it's my sensitive part, whether it's the part of me that's angry, I see it in other people. And if I push those people away by, let's say, not hanging out with them or unfriending them, I find that new people in my reality pop up with the same traits that again trigger me. So it's like running away from these triggers when really I need to integrate them. So yeah, I just wanted to say I can relate.
Thank you, Saloni, for this input. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Hana, do you want to say something?
Yes, absolutely. I would like to say that as we mentioned, we discussed that there are some kind of things and situations which actually make you that you kind of they trigger your relationships and your emotions in a certain way. So the problem which I used to face in the beginning was like people were expecting so much from me and they were like not even listening me to what I need. So in the result, what happened that now I sometimes feel scared of getting into relationships because I feel that
Hana, we can't hear you somehow. So maybe there is a connection issue over there. Okay. Okay, so let's take Nazia's comment because she's saying some experiences lying. So I'm reading the comment. So some experiences in life makes you scared to make new relationships in terms like you think if same thing happened in my case, it is better to stay away from it. The definition of a relationship is broad. One is with your family, siblings, another is with your future life. So that's what we have been discussing because the major crux of doing this master class is to show you that relationship most of the time is not your conscious creation. Relationships are creation of your subconscious mind, of those behaviors and patterns that you don't see actually that are at play. So you need to understand those patterns. You need to understand those behaviors that 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 becomes blind spot for you, and you don't know that they are at play. But through those patterns, playing out of those patterns, you are manifesting those people in your lives. So that's what I wanted to teach. Okay, so I think so this was the Memuna. Okay, so what Memuna wants to say something? Okay, she has a comment. So okay. So Memuna is saying that certain experiences makes you feel mistrust in relationships. Absolutely, because if you are experiencing mistrust, then it means that there are selves within you who don't trust you. So, for example, in the case that I've showed, that if Sarah's part that are angry, the part that is angry and that is terrified, if Sarah doesn't trust that part, then those part will not trust them, not trust Sarah. So do you see? Because that's a relationship. what kind of a relationship you have with your emotions. If you don't trust your emotions, if you don't feel, then these sort of experiences, Maimuna, will occur in your life, because that only means that you haven't developed trust with yourselves or selves within you. So once you own those aspects, the trust is established, and you see that you find people in life who are trustworthy. That's how I found Fatma, for example. And interestingly, I found someone who is now building my house. You know, it feels that, you know, it's not a rocket science. From my perspective, because if you really work with those aspects that you have disowned, then, you know, you get ready for surprises, positive surprises. Get ready for those things that you have been craving for. You know, it's so amazing, you know, when people feel that, you know, they can't develop trust. Yeah. So okay, so let's take last question and move forward in the interest of time. So S. Malkira is asking why we experience too much attraction towards certain people. The answer is same. When you develop attraction, that means that you have aspects that you don't own, but, you know, for example, that you wanted to be that bubbly girl, but in your household that bubbly girl was not accepted. So what you do, you watch those bubbly girls on TV, and, you know, and you get attracted to them, maybe at 2 a.m. uh, that you watch those girls, you know, because it wasn't allowed in your household to be that person. So that's how you develop attraction, you know, in relationships. So you attract those similar qualities, characteristics that you feel those are positive, but you have disowned because you want to connect with your family, because your family is not is dismissive of those qualities that you think are good. Then it becomes your subconscious pattern, and you see them outside of you of yourself, and then you get attracted. So this is the answer to your question. Okay, so what I'll be doing now is to introduce the big announcement that I was saying, that I will announce uh, when I was live yesterday on Instagram, and this announcement that I'm finally offering this course. Okay, I'll show the slides. Fatma is very dominating right now. Show the slide. दिखा रहा हूँ. Okay, so that means that I need to own my dominator. Do you see? Okay. Okay, so I'm sharing my slides, and so you get to know what is that big thing. Share, play. Okay. Okay, so I'm introducing or offering this group mentorship program that I'm calling master relationships. Yeah, and it's a 6-week program. So this is the big announcement, and it has 6 themes. So each week there's a different theme to work on. So it's a group mentorship program, 6 weeks, and the title is Master Relationships. It begins with the week 1 by learning the foundations of relationships. So we'll get to know what are the key elements of relationships. So we'll learn, and it will include practicum, and I will share with you soul sheets, and I'll introduce in a few seconds, in few minutes, that what soul sheets are. So first week is about learning the foundations of relationships, and then the second week is learning about all those subconscious patterns that we might carry, and we don't know about them. So you get to know those patterns, and in the third week we will work around how do we change those patterns in order to have those relationships that we crave for. Do you see? So these are the 3 building blocks in the first 3 weeks. Okay, so week 4 onwards, there will be skill development thing. So in week 4, I will teach you how to get vulnerable, and the skill of attunement, because this is very important. That's where unconditional loving presence, that's a cliche word, comes into play. But I believe that unconditional loving presence is a skill. It's no longer a woo idea. And how do you do that? So I'm teaching that in the week 4. How do you do that? You know, and in a group environment, imagine we are doing this in a very safe space. How do you get vulnerable? How do you feel attuned to someone, and how do you give someone that attuned presence, so that someone can experience that trust that we so crave for? Because uh, we, as Jiddu Krishnamurti has said, that we live in a sick society and expect to be healthy. We can't. So we need to create spaces where health is restored, especially relationships health. And how do you do that? To make those groups, to make those mentorship programs. And that's why I'm here. That's, I feel that I'm so aligned with this purpose of connecting people, and making those spaces so that people can heal from those spaces. So how do you get vulnerable? How do you get attuned to someone, and how you offer attunement to people? Yeah. And the 5th week is very important. How do you communicate, basically? Because communication is a very important part of how do you give presence to people. How do you get vulnerable? What do you say when you get vulnerable? When you attune to someone, what is your language? So non-violent communication is a big block of 5th week. And also and it's not just non-violent, it's about authentic communication. It's about what is the truth in relationships. Because most of the time what we do, that we get inauthentic in relationships. And that's why, our relationship fails most of the time. Because the reality that we carry inside is very different from the reality that we show to people. And that's where, you don't find it. And it's an important pattern that we developed of inauthenticity. So I'm teaching that how you can be authentic in communication, so that you don't get to think about what to say when to be vulnerable, and what to say when you are in the struggle, that what should I say and what should I not, And in the 6th week, we will take stock of our experiences, because it's a practical program. So it's not just theoretical. You learn, and so what I'll be doing is I'll be pushing you into the world of relationships. So you get into your relationships and apply those changes in your relationships and see what happens. So it's kind of, we will be using the law of attraction or law of mirroring to benefit ourselves in this course. That's the major framework I'll be using. That how we can um, experience those relationships that we really want to experience. Yeah. So the last week will be sharing of those experiences and what we can learn about them, and how do we sort of change or capitalize upon those experiences that we experience that are good. So this is the 6th week in a nutshell. And so what you learn in this group mentorship program, so the first thing you will learn is those social patterns that governs our relationship, and how do you change those patterns. And these patterns are subconscious patterns. We don't know about them. And how do you identify them and work around them? This is the first thing that you will learn. The second thing you will learn is the integration of those aspects or those patterns. It's not about pushing those patterns away. It's about owning those patterns and taking strengths from them, and getting aside with the weakness of those patterns. So how do you integrate your deepest fears that keep you away from deep connection? So to work with those, this is the skill thing. And the third thing, that you will practice how to communicate in an authentic and compassionate way, because communication is everything. Because we get hurt from communication, and we get healed from communication. It's that important. And somehow people miss this bit, and I want to bring that thing into my program. And the fourth thing is practice unconditional love. So it's not a spiritual or self-help woo-woo idea. It's that I want to teach that how can you become skilled in giving unconditional unconditional love and presence. It's not just about saying it, it's about how do you become that person who is very skilled in doing that. That's my aim in this program through gathering this group. Okay, so the next thing is that what you will get in this program. You can say the slide is not moving. Very interesting. Now it's moving. Okay, so what you will get in this program. Number one. So what you will get is that 2 hours live group calls with me and access to the recordings. So we will, dive deep every week for 2 hours in a group situation. And we'll record that, and that recording will be accessible to you. Yeah, so that's one thing that you will get. The second thing you will get is the soul sheets. So you've heard of worksheets, but soul sheets I've specifically designed to work with your subconscious part. So it will take you to learn those patterns that you haven't been seeing, that are at play in manifesting those relationships that you don't want. And it will allow you to access those subconscious parts that you have rejected, denied, and disowned. So you'll be learning about them, and you will be becoming expert on them by delving deep into these aspects. And the third thing you will be getting is tools and practices to sharpen your relationship skills. I've just talked about nonviolent communication, authentic communication. How do you unconditionally become present with someone? That's a skill to be learned. There will be guided meditations. I love meditation. I love developing those meditations. So there will be guided meditations that will help you go through this journey of creating conscious relationships. Yeah. And then what I have planned is that we will develop an online platform. It will be a private community of those people who can interact with them. It will be a safe space whereby these people can communicate to each other and share their vulnerabilities and tender selves, and have those responses that is really healing for them. So it's a very private community, and you get access to that safe space, which is the 6th point. Yeah, where you can become authentic, because we get reprimanded to become authentic. Yeah. So what you will get is that safe space where you can be who you are and find approval for that self, or those selves that are being disowned by society. Yeah. And in addition to this is that you will find lifelong connections, because imagine if this group works for 6 weeks and you find those deep connections, you find someone who really relate to you, connect with those people. So this is kind of a hidden part of this group mentorship program, that after the program, the connection will go on, will follow, you see, because that's the beauty I'm seeing in this program. Okay, so what is the special offering? The special offering is that whosoever have registered for this masterclass will get a 16% discount. Why 16? Because my birthday is on 16 September. That's why 16% discount. But for the next 48 hours, yeah. So it will go on full price after 48 hours. Yeah. And then there are payment plan available. So if you feel that you want to pay things into 2 installments, that's also available. Yeah. Okay. So, but in terms of logistics, I'm only taking 6 slots, 6 people to work with. So I want an intimate group so I can be fully committed to those 6 people. So I very decisively decided on the size of the group. So 6 slots are available. And what I've planned so far, that I'll begin this program on September 16 on my birthday. So whosoever want to join, they can sort of contact me through my social media pages, through email, and also comment. So Fatma is saying you can also mention that if you really want to join, you can mention in the comment, in the chat, Zoom chat, and we will follow up with you. Okay, so this is what the announcement was all about. And so what is there? Let me check my outline. Okay. Oh, what the hell is this? Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the takeaway of this masterclass. So now floor is open for reflection for a few minutes. So what do you think was the takeaway or takeaways for you? Okay. Okay. So what is the takeaway for you? Okay, so Anjali has raised dua. Okay, first Anjali and then dua.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. I
Yeah.
hope everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the takeaway was I mean, become aware of the suppressed aspects of yourself and develop a relationship with those before, I mean, not before, but develop a relationship with those in order to have better relationships.
Okay. Thank you, Anjali. Dua. And then Saloni.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yes. Hello. So yeah, I guess the meditation that you made us do, I guess that really helped me to understand the link between who I was and how that led to the person that I am today, and also really notice the key, changes throughout life and all the realizations. But I think again, I've worked with you before as well, and I really this is the most amazing lesson that I've taken along with along the way is that we have to work with our light and dark aspects to become fulfilled, ultimately fulfilled, and have this change manifest around us in a very fulfilling manner. So yeah, I guess that's like the most major lesson that really stays with me throughout in everything that I do, even the work, even relationships and friendships and everything. So and I've already started noticing a lot of changes and within myself as well. I think that is the hardest change to make at the end of the day. So, and I feel like my most empowered self, even when I'm with people or when I'm without people. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dua. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, Saloni, please go ahead.
Yeah, so when we were doing the guided meditation, I actually joined a bit late, but I did the like I did visualize the part when I was, in a room, and it was such a strong feeling of being unloved and unwanted. And I was like, is my mind creating this? This is insane. So that was definitely my first revelation. And I'm going to definitely think about this more. And I was also not aware that there are parts of me that don't even want a relationship. That are like, you know what, I'm good, being away from people. So I brought like some light onto those shadow aspects because of our discussion. So I'm really thankful about that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Saloni. And because I wanted to also say something about that meditation, because that sets the tone for our relationships. Because the first lesson that we learn within the womb, it sets us up for the relationship that we'll experience in the future. Do you see? It's that deep. It's that deep. It's that visceral. It's that bodily, that we embody those things, and we become matched to those people who the way we've learned what relationship should be when we are in wombs. That's my gut says to me, and that's where this meditation suddenly came to me. Yeah, so thank you for this. So I'll not take much time of you. I'll just wrap up and will say that because of the unsettling time that we are in, we need to learn relationships. How do you how non-vaccine people who don't want to get vaccinated relate to people who want to vaccinate? What is the connection between the two? This is one set of polarity, how white versus black would go along, so what is the relationship between these polarities? So unless we develop these connections, relationship, because there's a trend nowadays to go into 5D or 12D or whatever. That's the spiritual stuff. I know that stuff and I can teach that stuff. But what I feel that energetically, the non-physical is interested in the physical, and that's where connection and relationships are very important for me, at least. And that's why I'm teaching oneness, connection, and relationship in this lifetime, because I feel that now it's not a luxury, it's a necessity of our time to learn this relationship. So that's my take on this, and that's why I do this work. Because if my relationship with the wasp around my house is not good, and if I'm fearful of that wasp, it means that I haven't integrated my fear. So this is that important, because the intensity of this unsettling time will increase, I feel that, in times to come. That's what I see, that's what I feel. Yeah, so that's why this is important. So Dua, something you want to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm so sorry to take up more of your time, and thank you so much for allowing me.
Right.
So, I realized something while going through the process of owning our these dark and light aspects and everything, and kind of accepting and integrating them again. So I noticed that that allowed me to go and face the fears that I've carried throughout my life in certain aspects, like for example the spiritual self, and there are a lot of dark things that I was really scared to see. But day by day, I'm almost becoming friends. I'm almost like, they're becoming a part of me in a very empowering way. So is that a part of it? Is that like your relationship with everything, even in this dimension, in this reality, and in every other dimension you can feel like everything basically improves along the way? Is that a part of it?
Absolutely, because as there are parts who are sort of get disowned by us, but there are also parts that we don't know that they are there to support us. That's where you get these ideas of guides in place. Do you see? So you need to learn to tap into those aspects of yourselves that haven't been tapped into, and that's where the integration will come from, because we don't know that we have that capacity to be unconditionally present with ourselves, with the fears, with our deepest fears, with those scary emotions. And once you tap into them, then suddenly you are being guided by something. You develop that faith.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying by my own experience. It's not just this theoretical, do you see? I could keep speaking about this, but maybe some other time. So thank you so much for everyone. Group photo, because I don't see any faces except yours and Wasim's. So there's a group photo thing. So if you can on your video, then we can take a photo. If you agree, if you feel that you want to be in the photo. Okay. Okay. So I think those who are here, I'm taking it. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining me. It was such a wonderful evening with you, teaching this masterclass, my first masterclass. And I'm looking forward to teaching the group mentorship program, those who want to join. And perfect. No words after this. Thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.